Hello, hello everyone, and welcome back to another live stream. I'm here with Swaino, and today we are going to be discussing Dong Ren resigning, and it came out of the blue a little bit, didn't it, mate? It really did.
Oh, mate, it did. I didn't know anything about it till about 5 o'clock. Mate of mine texted me and said, Dong's gone. I was like, what? I hadn't been on social media all day. And yeah, what a shock. But was it a shock?
Well, I mean, I think it was to a lot of us because it was one of them, we've had protests going on. We've had people, I don't think anyone realised or thought it was going to happen in the sense of, oh, let's get rid of him at the end of the season. But when you look back on it, it does make a lot of sense, don't it? Like,
yeah,
it's like they probably made the decision around the time they sacked Karanka and brought Bowyer in. Whoever made that decision probably wasn't Dong's. I don't think Dong really wanted Karanka to go at all because that was his head on a plate then. But yeah, thinking about it on reflection, it's probably the case of we got rid of Karanka. It's not working, Dong, but let's wait until the end of the season. Let's not cause a fuss. Let's make sure we're safe and we survive. And the main focus is the football. And obviously now the season's over. Here we are. Question is, what happens next?
Yeah, that's the question. And I think you're right. I think it was Zhao, I think, Dong's boss, as we understand it, was the one that said, pulled the plug on Karanka. There was a strong indication. It was a bit like a parent coming in and saying, all right, you've messed up enough now. Now I'm taking charge. And I think you're right. Yeah, don't do that at the end of the season. There would have been no benefit. Just keep him out of the picture. Let the new manager come in, hopefully keep us up, which he did. And then it's a case now of, right, we need to do some behind the scenes admin. And the question as well, Joe, is did he resign? Or was he just allowed to save face and he was actually sacked?
I mean, the chances of him having actually resigned are very, very slim, I believe. Especially he didn't want Karanka to go. I think it was written in the stars, as Tiny Temper would say. Cheers. And,
one of my favourite artists.
I think it was actually someone else. Anyway. Moving on. Yeah, I think it was definitely more of the case of thank you very much. You could either resign or we'll sack you.
Yeah.
So, which option you want to take there?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was allowed to save face. I think that was the last bit of sort of favour they did him, aside from letting him almost ruin the club with terrible decisions regarding managers. All the manager turnover and the general way that the club was going. I mean, I just think you look around the actual stadium, the stands even that are still open, but everywhere it looks so tatty and so unloved and uncared for. And there was a whole sort of bad feeling about the club. So hopefully now that he's removed himself, things can start to get better. And I suppose, like you said, the question is who comes in next and what will they bring? Or will they not need to bring anything? Just don't do what Dong did. Would that be an improvement?
I think it's just the case of getting someone in who's not going to get as involved, and I mean, he just wanted to get far too involved. It's like someone who wanted to be a footballer or something, or a manager when they were younger, and they were like, this is the closest they'll get. So I'll get on the pitch. I'll get on the training ground. I'll get my boots on. I'll get my trackies on. It's just not what we want. We just want someone who's going to benefit the club. And you know what? I don't think anyone would have minded if he actually delivered results. But he hasn't. He's consistently underperformed, proven that he's incompetent. And to be honest, this should have happened a very, very long time ago, but it has happened now. And I think it's the case of like, okay, who's going to come in next? Because yes, it's great that he's left or been sacked or whatever, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
But who's going to come in? That's the big question. It's like,
I suppose one way of looking at it is in a lot of clubs, the CEO doesn't necessarily have to be an expert in football or even a football person, but they do their CEO job, which is often not directly related to football. It's commercial, it's business, it's sponsorship, it's all that kind of thing. And if they do that well, then great. I think the biggest asset Blues can have in a new CEO is he lets the footballing people do their job, lets the manager do his job, lets the backroom staff do their job. If he is a football person, he or she, if they are a football person, Karen Brady, if they are a football person, then that's a bonus. But I think it's enough of a bonus just to have someone in who just lets everyone else get on with their job, which was obviously a big issue with Dong, as far as we understand it, that he just interfered, in a disruptive way.
Yeah, and I think just not having that distraction and that worry is going to be a big thing. Before we move on any further, mate, let's have a look at some of the comments.
Yes.
First of all, just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's watching. We actually recently hit 13,000 subscribers, so really happy with that. Thank you very much. Appreciate every single one of you. We'll go through some of here. William Donahue has said, "Yes, Joe, what you saying, my G? Say less, my brother." What's going on, mate? No, I'm good. What else we got? Robert says he's so happy. Cal says late night Jaffers for Swaino. Profile picture. Look at the profile picture.
That's super.
That is iconic. that has actually made my day.
That's brilliant.
So James Kelly as well says, get a proper director of football back. Steve Gallen, Charlton's director of football. So is that because there were rumours of the whole director of football coming in? Is that the same level as a CEO? It seems to me like it's.
No, I would have thought CEO is higher. CEO is effectively the sort of the on-site boss of the business of the
like
company.
Together, sort of thing.
I think director of football, I would assume would report to the CEO, but that would be a senior position, as far as I know. But it might be different in different clubs. But yeah, that would be amazing, having a director of football as well. I mean, that would be overload as far as Blues are concerned. But you never know.
Definitely.
Someone's mentioned Wiseman as well.
Yes. I was going to say just anyone competent. I just don't want it to be the case of like when we sacked Redknapp and we brought in Steve Cottrell. Let's bring in someone like you say who's a little bit more reserved, knows what they're doing a bit more. Isn't I don't know. There's a lot that he did wrong, weren't there? So if we can, like you say, just the fact of him not being here could be a huge benefit, and someone that just gets on with the job, even if they're not doing too much. They're not too. What do you think about the whole attacking style of play? Do you think? I think that actually came from the top, didn't it? It wasn't exactly Dong Ren.
It did because it had to, because they got rid of Gary Rowett because he wasn't exciting enough and brought in an exciting genius of a manager called Gianfranco Zola. And so, it was definitely we want to be an exciting club. I think he even said in one of his early interviews or one of his only interviews about the sort of style of play. We want to be an exciting team to watch. And it's like, but we can be, we're going to end up being exciting to watch in League One, which is what nearly happened. So absolutely. No, it's definitely been from the top. This we saw it. They wanted the exciting manager. When that didn't happen, they thought we'd get someone. All we've done is got exciting manager and who's failed, and then we've brought in a manager to firefight, and then that's failed for whatever reason, or they've been sacked. And then we brought in another exciting manager, and that's failed. Then we brought in a manager that everyone really liked and got on with, and then he left for dubious reasons. But like I say, there's all these different reasons that managers have left. But and I think you mentioned this when we were talking before, what the common denominator is Dong. Yeah. And you think, well, they can't all be bad. That they were all sacked or resigned. I mean, that's a large number of people to fail at their jobs. And you think, well, they can't all be terrible, all that much. But the only person who was there throughout was him. So it can only be a good thing that he isn't going to be there anymore. Yeah. Oh, here comes the dog. It's not a broadcast without the dog.
Hello, Mark. No, I totally agree, mate. Just gonna have a look at some more comments. Stuart says BrummieJoe for CEO. I don't know if I want that responsibility. Thank you. Again, I'd be the Steve Cottrell.
You'd lose your hair, mate, like me.
We're getting there.
Like twins.
Let's have a look. What we got? Ziggy Cheddar in the chat. I got an A level tomorrow, but Joe and Swaino is too much. Go to bed. Revise.
Yeah, come on. Get back to your book.
Stuart agrees with us. He says he thinks it's just a respect thing, allowed to resign before he was pushed.
I think so.
I think that's the most reasonable sort of explanation, isn't it, really? Also, by the way, if you are watching and you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do, and make sure you like the video. Let's see what we can do here. If you do like these sort of streams, these sort of videos, just not watching the game, but just little bits of chats here and there, because obviously we're going to be hopefully back at the stadiums next season, and we can keep these going and keep these going across the summer as well. Let's have a look. What else?
RH Transport videos are in the house.
Oh my god, I'm trying to get down to him. I'm reading all your comments. Let's have a look.
Who let the dong out? There's some witty people in here, I tell you.
At least someone is. He played too much Football Manager and thought he could do it. I think, again. Here we go. JD says, my worry is it will be another TTA puppet. I hope not. I hope it will be someone who knows a little about football and let the professional manager actually manage the football inside. I totally agree. And also, to add to that, I think it's someone as well who can communicate. Like I say, they don't have to know everything about football necessarily, but it's someone who can, fight the case for the manager back to the board, because if it comes to it next season and Bowyer's playing football that's not, yes, he's not going to be the prettiest in the world, and maybe we're not on the best run. It's the fact that they go back and they're like, okay, this is football. Look at what's happened before. This happens. It's a slow process. It's going to take some time, but we're doing X, Y, and Z. That's what we need.
Yeah. You need someone who is the go-between between the manager and the people back in China, the ultimate owners. And you're right, it needs to be someone who says, no, hold on, he knows what he's doing. Whereas Dong said, no, I know what we should be doing, and seemed to just fight against every manager who came in. So apart from Karanka.
I've got to read your comments before, because I always think they're going to be a joke or a dig or something. But he's actually got coming with a comment. He said, rumoured that Dong had a say in signings and team sheets as well. Again, we don't know that, but rumours. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyone coming in who leaves everyone else to do their jobs will be an improvement.
100%.
That's it. Just take your ego home and just let people do their jobs.
It's like I said when Karanka left, I said, to be honest, we could get a baked potato sitting in the dugout and it would be better than having Karanka, purely because it wasn't Karanka. And I think the same thing here. If there was no CEO for a few months, I don't think it would have a negative effect on Blues. But obviously you do need one. But yeah, I totally agree. Anybody else would hopefully be improvement, as long as it's not Zhao's brother or something. I hope they don't keep it in the family and we do get someone from outside the club. With a bit of experience,
Definitely. So let's have a look. Get this.
These comments are great.
That's another issue. So let's move on to, let's have a look. We've actually got a list of topics that Swaino sent over. So very much appreciate that, Swaino. Far more organised than I am.
I just made it up as I went along.
So we've talked about a couple of things here, but I mean, let's talk about the issue at hand. The thing that's been spoken about quite a lot is, everything that's happened with the protests and that, and it's been a bit of a tricky one, because there was a lot of good work that Blues Collective was doing as well. And again, while I don't want it to be the case of you've done something wrong, they're terrible people and they need to be shunned and banned and this, that, and the other, right? I think it's the case of, like, they've done something wrong. The banner was racist, first of all, like it was, and I think everyone has, first of all, there's like an education piece, and second of all, other people's perceptions of what is and isn't over the line. It's just different, isn't it? So I think it's one of them. Like, it's right to call that out personally, because I think it's you shouldn't really stand for it. But I think it's just the fact that they didn't really hold their hands up to it and continue to sort of double down on it instead. But I think overall, it's sort of taken away from the actual message. Like, it's not about your race. That's not why we want you to leave. That's not why. It's just purely about the job that you're doing. So. It was.
I think you're right. I think it was. And there were some people before that happened. There were people who said, "Oh, it's embarrassing that you're doing this, and it makes you look tin pot." And then other people going, "At least someone's standing up and doing something." And everyone's got a different opinion on it. I think everyone's got a right In fact, as Blues said in their statement when they were saying about this sort of racist banner, they said everyone's got, you've got a right to protest. You've got a right to protest against the club. Everyone has, and I totally support that. So I think that what they did was their right to protest, and whatever you think of it, it was their right to do it. But you're right that banner they put out, it undermined everything else they'd done, and I think perhaps the smart thing we would have said, yeah, we messed up there, we're sorry, and that was a foolish mistake, we're really sorry, and their credibility would have probably remained intact. And I think it's a shame that happened, and I think I'd like to have seen them, like you said, put their hands up and go, yeah, we made a mistake. Because other than that, I credit to them. Thing is, if you criticize people for standing up and doing something, and you haven't done it, I didn't stand up and do anything, then I can't really criticize someone else for doing it. I might not agree with it, but I can't really criticize their right to protest. And so I just wish it had ended a bit differently.
That's it as well. And I think it's the case of like I say, it's just an education piece on some points, and other people will believe it's not over the line or whatever. But if we take away from that, like we all make mistakes as well in that sense, and I don't think people should necessarily be cancelled. It's just a case of like that, calling out things isn't cancelling people, and it isn't saying because I hate the whole cancel culture too.
Yeah.
People make mistakes. People will say the wrong thing, but I think the way that like we make, like in a general sense, the world a better place is not by saying you're a terrible person for one thing that you've done, go away. It's about just almost giving people like your opinion and giving them another side of it and what other people might feel about it.
Yeah.
That's it, really, isn't it? Like,
well, it isn't binary. It's not yes or no. Exactly. So they're not instantly all bad people, and they weren't necessarily all good people to start with. They were people, and they did something that was, to a lot of people, not right. And I think really just a case of, rather than say cancel, it's just, if they just say, yeah, we're sorry, we say, okay, fair enough, and we move on. At the end of the day, that aside, that particular banner aside, I think the fan power must have had an effect. The plane that flew over, where was it? Brentford or something, wherever it was. That was just quite funny. But that was fan power, and that was saying, we don't want you in our club.
Yeah. And I think people compared it as well. They were going on about like, oh, there's Tim Pipes, this and that. But no, like I think in the sense of saying we're not happy with this person, we want him out. I mean, I think it's great, and the fact that they've gone all that way to do that as well shows that they care about the club, and the club's in their main interest in getting the whole playing thing as well, and that whole image of him looking like
it was great. Talk about a result.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt that they care a hell of a lot about this club. They're putting their own hard-earned money into this to try and get him out. And at the end of the day, it was already decided. But they've been protests. If we take away that banner, there've been protests throughout the season and beyond, basically, that have led to this point. And it's the whole thing of getting the owners to see.
And just quickly before we go to comments, just to talk about the protest, like say the protest at Man United about the Super League, and it's in a similar way. Nearly everybody was there, just protested outside. Then a few people got inside and they attacked that policeman and stuff. So in that case, it was a small group of people that then sort of support the whole overall message from everybody else. And here it was this banner that they produced that sort of support everything else they did. So again, it's levels, isn't it, I suppose? But there is a similarity, I think, between that and those other protests.
Yeah, again, like if we get another perspective from it as well, protests are fine as long as they don't cross the line. I agree. I'm not a fan of the current snowflake generation, but some lines shouldn't be crossed. I mean, and I can understand your point as well. Like I'm not... there's one of them things, and I can definitely be perceived as a snowflake or woke or whatever you want to call it. But like, I'm not arrogant enough to say like, oh, I'm always right. I'm this and that and the other. And I try and appreciate other people's views in that sense. And as well, we've grown up in different generations. But for me, it's one of them. I'm just trying to be a good person, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not saying anyone else isn't or whatever, but I think part of that is calling certain things out when you think they've crossed the line, and people might agree with you, people might disagree with you. But again, just want to say, I'm not a fan of the whole cancel culture. But if we move on anyway, Zigic Header said, made a good point here. One thing, Dong resigning. Now let's see if it was Dong who was the real problem or if it was TTA themselves. And I think that is quite a good point.
Or indeed whoever owns Blues, because there's that Cambodian fella, and then there's the Chinese lady who owns 3/4 of the stadium. But yeah, because I believe TTA aren't actually the actual owners, majority owners anymore. I
think Almagier put something up about that, like something to do with the weird stadium sale thing that went on or whatever. And then there was like, oh, also what?
Oh, when did that happen? So yes, so Zigic Header, yes, essentially yes, TTA, yes. We're not being pedantic. We're just sort of saying who knows who the owners are, but we get the point. Yes, the owners. Is it them or was it Dong? I think it's got to be. He's got whatever percentage, but he definitely had a lot of say in what happened and decisions that were made. I think they left him to run it, and to what degree I don't know, but I'm just hopeful we'll definitely see an improvement. And can I just say, James, thank you for the mention about my fresh trim. I think it's just receded more, that's all. But thank you. Sorry, Jay.
No, it's fine. I think here you've got again another opinion on the protests and stuff. I personally saw nothing wrong with all the United fans causing the postponement of games, violence aside. If they want to break in and cause a fuss, let them, good on them. And I think, I think it's the whole causing a fuss and in that sense and making people aware of the situation and making the owners aware of the situation it's a good thing. Unfortunately, in those situations, it's when people find an excuse for violence against people who are just doing their job. So it's a difficult one. I know what you mean, but
and I just Joe, I say
violence aside.
The only other thing to say to Jamie on that one is just putting the other view is that if you were, say, the Glazers, if they see that there's violence and stuff and postponement of games, that might them say, right, well, we're definitely not going to do what you want. It creates antagonism the other way, so it can backfire. I don't know if that's how, but they may not have it may not make any difference either way. But it could be that doing that just makes them even more entrenched in their stubbornness. If that makes sense.
I don't know. I think if you do it the right way, like for example, again, violence aside, but postponing games and stuff, I think it's the case where it's like they've had enough, they've been patient, had enough, and now it's that's what they have to do. And I don't know the full situation there, but I think, I mean, they caused a postponement of game. I think they got their attention basically. We're gonna have to see what happens from that.
Can I just say, we're getting some really good comments, really interesting stuff. So good on you, everyone. I mean, and again, we can slightly disagree on things, and that's all good. So keep the comments coming. We're not here to say, like Joe said, we're not saying we're right. This is just sort of our thoughts and opinions.
No, exactly, exactly. Jason says, whoever the new CEO is should create a group or basically work with the Blues Trust, have a meeting once a month or whatever, to let the fans get their point across and what to expect from fans' view. Now, that would probably be the ideal, that would be the godsend of CEOs, basically, wouldn't it? Having that connection with the fans. Now, I don't know that much about Blues Trust, and I don't know if they have meetings, but I don't think that would be a million miles away in the sense of
they did used to.
Yeah.
They did used to have those meetings because I got invited to one or two of them. And so that was where they'd have long-standing fans and I think Blues Trust Blues Trust used to be there and various little blues groups, and they would do a meal and a presentation and chat about what's going on, and you could submit questions. So they did do it. I don't know if I was over a year ago. I went to the last one. I only went to a couple, and it was quite good. And there were members of the board and stuff were there, and you could actually ask questions, and they did answer all the questions, sometimes in a slightly political way, but there was that. So I don't know if they stopped doing those, but that is an essential thing, I think, is to have that connection. So hopefully they'll do them again.
No, definitely. What else have we got here? So many comments. I'm just trying to go through. I really appreciate them, guys. Again, just do drop a like on the video if you are enjoying it. Let us know what you think about this as well. About these kind of videos whenever something goes on or there's someone we want to sign or whatever. I tend to usually do a video to camera and then put it up, but I think it's good having this sort of conversation with you as it happens, sort of thing. Then going back through the comments, let's have a look. Apparently, Tottenham are announcing a fan board today.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wonder if it will help them win any trophies.
Yeah, because with this ESL and the backlash, do you think there will be a bit of a bit licking the wounds and go, oh, perhaps we should actually engage with the fans a bit more? However fake it is,
I don't buy it. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's another thing, but I don't buy it. I think it's just the case of money is always going to talk, and they will just the seeds planted now, and they will just slowly water that until that becomes normality. And it's just always the way, like it's always incremental. Just do something as people won't notice if you do. The problem with the ESL was how suddenly it happened. If they'd have slowly, like not even slower with it, it would have been normality and people would have been like, oh, well, that's just how it is.
Yeah. But if they'd evolved, well, they've been talking about it for years, but then they talked about it and then said, bang, and they didn't even tell the managers and the players of their own club. I mean, that was just unbelievable.
Yeah. What else have we got here?
A big comment from Paul, the latest one. It'll be at the bottom of yours. I haven't read it, but
there is. Okay, hello. There is a chance now with new CEO, manager to rebuild the club's social media profile like under Monk. Fans have a manager they can believe in, and Dong is gone, who most fans detested. Fans are a bigger asset than the board realise, as this season without fans has shown for many clubs up and down the country. That is a perfect point, and I think
amen to that.
I think what you've mentioned with Monk as well is like, and unfortunately, not just the fans as well, like the people who have been working at the club, like just the people behind the scenes at the club. You talk about Monk, and you look at the work that that we were doing with the community, Claire and Davo, and that, and just what's his name? Was it Ramos, the keeper? On the bus.
Yes, yeah.
But like just getting involved with the community, doing things,
homeless things, the sleepover,
homeless nights and that, like all that sort of stuff. Like that felt the most wholesome Blues that I have ever experienced when we were doing that, and we felt so connected with the community. So I hope that can be something that we can look forward to, and I hope that we can invest in that side behind the scenes as well, because it's not all about players and that. If we can do something good for the community at the same time, then happy days.
And it gets a brilliant response from the fans, doesn't it? That whole you're right, that atmosphere was so good.
Just a feel factor, isn't it? And I feel like we've got the one part of it, which is the manager that understands the fans, Boya. And I think we can do the rest of it. And I think it could be like, we don't know what's around the corner, but it could be something good. We've got a manager we know we like. We know he's good. We know he plays football that Blues play.
Yeah.
Now let's do the stuff behind the scenes. Let's give him a little bit of backing and let's take our time with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't take much, does it, to get Blues fans on side? It really doesn't. Our expectation levels are so low these days that anything that's not crap is really, really positive.
Yeah, no, definitely. We've had a Coventry fan in here as well saying, "Hi lads, glad Dong's resigned for you. Thanks for letting us ground share these last 2 years. Excited we're going back to the Rico." Yes, I bet. Thanks, Callum. And you've done really well as well, staying in the league and
6-1,
really good football. Pardon?
6-1 against Millwall.
6-1, yeah. I mean, but first of all, the grass can have can relay the grass and not have to worry about that. But I think it's good again, and it's we've had the experience of watching the Blues away at our own ground, this, that, and the other. Yeah, so
good on you, Cov. I think and it'd be nice. I mean, it'd be nice for us and for you, but to actually go to an actual away game at Cov, because the last Cov away game I went was at Highfield Road in about 1980. It'd be great to get to the Rico, and I'm glad you've got back to your stadium, because that must be horrible.
I think it's been 9 years for me, because I remember doing my before the game, I was doing my driving theory on my phone. So I would have been 17. So yeah, it's been. I think Marlon King scored. I think it was 1-1.
I'm
not sure, but I think it was around that time. The season after we got relegated, I'm pretty sure. I think if we're gonna sum things up, it's just we've got rid of someone that clearly was a problem at Blues and wasn't exactly doing the job to the standards that we expected. and now we can look forward. We've got the manager sorted. Can Blues start to work to get back to where they belong? Because we've been meandering around the bottom of the league for so long, and if you keep knocking on that door, like I say, eventually it's going to open, and we'll get relegated. So we have been given too many second chances.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Far too many, and we have to stop making the mistakes that we're making. And the new CEO could be a really big part of that. Are you feeling optimistic about the future?
I am. The thing I want more than anything else is stability. It's almost, as long as you don't get relegated, I literally don't care where we finish next season, because it's not about that. It's like you said, it's about building the club back, building that feeling back, building the fan base back, because that's been affected, and just getting Birmingham City playing like Birmingham City. And you go to the games, you enjoy the games, like under Gary Monk. Win, lose or draw, I enjoyed every game. There was only like one game. I only missed 2 games under him. There was one game I didn't enjoy. The rest I really enjoyed. That's what most of us want. And like you said, it doesn't have to be done next season. I think most fans would be happy with us being stable and finishing upper mid-table next season, and then the season after going for the playoffs. So for me, yes, I feel optimistic. As like we said, as long as a CEO comes in who lets Bowyer and everyone else just do their job, that's pretty much it, and I'll be happy.
100%. And I think that is probably a good place to end the chat before we ramble on too much. But guys, if you haven't had a chance to have your comment read today, I will be looking through all of the comments that you leave, not in the chat. If you put them, if I haven't answered any, or Swaino hasn't answered any, have a look down the bottom of the actual video where the comments are that stay there, basically. And I'll look through them once it's uploaded, and tomorrow when I'm back from work, basically. So let us know your thoughts, and let us know how optimistic you are about the future. Where do we go from here? What do you think is going to happen next season? I'm feeling positive. The fans are going to be back in stadiums. It's just I'm so looking forward to what's going to happen. But do you want to sign it off, Swaino? Any last comments?
I would just say, think about this. We've got Peterborough away next season, and I tell you what, joy. And a final thing to say, singing Lee Bowyer's name, there's only one Lee Bowyer, and singing Keep Right On, that first game when we're back at St Andrews, the roof, if it's still attached, is going to come off the stadium, and I can't wait to see Joe, you there, and everyone else in the comments. Can't wait to see and hear you singing Keep Right On that first day back.
Love that. Guys, thank you for watching. Have an amazing rest of your week. Thank you so much. And we will see you in the next one, whenever that will be. See you later, guys, and keep riding.